Question 1. In a modern context of project portfolio governance, a portfolio manager in a multinational firm notices that multiple business units have different project calendars, leading to inconsistencies in milestone tracking. Which is the most effective first step to standardize scheduling without disrupting existing active projects? A. Force all units to adopt a single global project calendar immediately. B. Create a new default calendar and migrate active projects gradually. C. Use reference data sharing to apply a standardized calendar template while retaining local variations. D. Lock period definitions in all units before making changes. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Standardizing via reference data sharing allows central governance while enabling localized adjustments, reducing disruption to active projects. Immediate adoption risks operational resistance. Gradual migration without centralized templates may perpetuate inconsistencies. Locking periods prematurely could halt essential updates. Reference data sharing aligns enterprise standards with local flexibility in harmonized milestone tracking while protecting ongoing work. Question 2. When analyzing cost overruns in an engineering project, the project controller finds that indirect costs were applied inconsistently across tasks. Which configuration change would most effectively ensure consistent burden cost application going forward? A. Update transaction sources to standardize indirect cost entries. B. Define a new burden schedule and assign it at the project type level. C. Manually adjust cost entries during reporting cycles. D. Assign cost collection flex fields to track indirect cost categories. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Assigning a burden schedule at the project type level ensures all projects of that type consistently calculate indirect costs. Transaction sources manage data origins, not cost methods. Manual adjustments are reactive and error-prone. Flex fields enhance data categorization but don't automate burdening rules. Centrally applied burden schedule guarantees uniformity and applying indirect costs support accurate forecasting and compliance with costing standards. Question 3. In an effort to streamline onboarding, Priya, a new functional consultant, is tasked with setting up a project unit that will operate across multiple business units. Which step is essential to ensure cross-financial tracking works correctly from the start? A. Configure project unit-specific calendars to align with each BU. B. Enable reference data sets for each in the project unit setup. C. Create separate transaction sources for each BU. D. Restrict cross-charge methods to only the primary BU. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Enabling reference data sets ensures the project unit can share and access key configurations across multiple business units, enabling seamless financial tracking. Separate calendars may cause scheduling fragmentation. Creating distinct transaction sources for each increases complexity without solving data sharing issues. Restricting cross-charge methods could hinder interbilling. Reference data set alignment is fundamental to proper multi-integration. Question 4. While examining a capital construction project, the CFO questions whether interest costs on borrowed funds can be allocated to the project's capital cost. What setup ensures this can be done within Oracle Project Management Cloud? A. Enable capitalized interest in the burdening setup and define multipliers. B. Configure budgetary controls to include interest costs. C. Set up cost collection flex fields for interest cost categories. D. Activate the capitalized interest feature and define capitalization rules. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Capitalized interest is a specific feature that requires activation and rule definition to allocate interest expenses as part of capital project costs. Burdening setups handle indirect costs, not capitalized interest. Budgetary controls enforce spending limits, not cost classification. Flex fields provide categorization but don't drive cost capitalization. Correct setup ensures compliance with the standards and accurate asset valuation. Question 5. To illustrate this point, Maria, a project administrator, is troubleshooting why budgetary controls are not preventing overspending on certain tasks despite being enabled. What is the most likely misconfiguration? A. Budgetary control levels were set at the project level instead of the task level. B. The project unit does not have A project calendar assigned. C. Reference data sharing for budget periods was not enabled. D. Cost allocation rules are overriding spending limits. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Budgetary controls must be aligned to the desired control level. If set only at the project level, task level overspending can occur. Lack of. A project calendar affects scheduling, not budget enforcement. Reference data sharing issues would block access to periods but not weaken controls. Cost allocation rules distribute costs but do not bypass configured spending limits. Correct control level selection is to enforcement granularity. Question 6. Given the circumstances, a consulting firm's portfolio requires billing between different business units for shared resources, which setup ensures accurate billing and accounting entries for both providing and receiving units. A. Configure project-specific invoice formats. B. Apply cross-charge methods with borrow and lend processing. C. Enable burden schedules for all inter-transactions. D. Use manual journal entries for interbilling. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Cross-charge methods with borrow and lend processing ensure both units' accounting reflects resource usage accurately. Invoice formats address presentation, not the underlying accounting logic. Burden schedules manage indirect costs but do not perform inter-settlement. Manual journal entries lack automation, increasing reconciliation risks. Cross-charge methods automate billing while maintaining financial integrity across business units. Question 7. As evidenced by recent project audits, a software development project failed multiple gate reviews due to incomplete deliverables and undefined acceptance criteria. What is the most effective action to prevent this in future projects? A. Assign more resources to gate review preparation. B. Define project gates with explicit entry and exit criteria and the project plan. C. Increase reporting frequency during development phases. D. Use cost collection flex fields to track deliverable readiness. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Explicit entry and exit criteria for gates ensure quality and completeness are assessed objectively, reducing failures. Adding resources doesn't address unclear expectations. More frequent reporting aids monitoring but not quality definition. Flex fields classify data but do not enforce acceptance standards. Well-defined gate criteria drive alignment, accountability, and successful phase transitions. Question 8. From a practical standpoint in setting up a new work breakdown structure for a long-term research project, what is the most critical practice to ensure alignment with both cost collection and progress tracking? A. To be elements that match billing milestones exactly. B. Ambiguous tasks with deliverables and reporting requirements. C. Study primarily for resource allocation optimization. ABBUA levels to reduce administrative overhead. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Align tasks with deliverables and reporting ensures traceability of costs and progress to contractual and stakeholder requirements. Matching to billing milestones alone risks missing technical progress links. Structuring for resource optimization may ignore deliverable dependencies. ABBUA levels excessively can oversimplify tracking. Proper alignment ensures coherent execution, monitoring, and finer integration. Question 9. Throughout the course of configuring functional setup manager for a multi-country rollout, Ahmed notices certain tasks are not visible to some implementation consultants. What is the most probable reason? A. The tasks are in a configuration package not yet deployed to their environments. B. The consultants lack assigned security roles granting access to those tasks. C. Project calendars are misaligned with the rollout schedule. D. Reference data sets for those tasks are locked. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Access to functional setup manager tasks is governed by security roles. Without them, consultants can't view or perform certain configurations. Undeployed packages would make tasks unavailable to all, not just some users. Calendar misalignment affects scheduling, not task visibility. Locked reference data sets impact modification, not visibility. Role-based access control is the root cause in this scenario. Question 10. The general consensus is that rapid implementation can save time in configuring Oracle Project Management Cloud. What is A key best practice to ensure the Rapid Implementation Workbook delivers accurate configurations. A. Populate only mandatory fields to accelerate loading. B. Validate data against business requirements before uploading. D. Upload the workbook directly to production for real-time deployment. D. Use the workbook solely for financial project setups. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Validating data before uploading prevents misconfigurations and ensures the implementation aligns with business needs. Populating only mandatory fields risks missing critical configurations. Direct production upload bypasses proper testing. Limiting to financial setups underuses the workbook's capability. Thorough validation balances speed with accuracy, reducing costly post-deployment corrections. Question 11. By evaluating an infrastructure project's delayed cost postings, the finance lead suspects that imported transactions are not mapping correctly to project cost categories. What configuration adjustment is most likely to resolve the issue permanently? A. Modify the transaction sources to ensure proper mapping rules are applied. B. Enable cross-charge methods for the project's cost categories. C. Create new burden schedules aligned with imported transaction types. D. Just project calendars to reflect actual posting dates. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Transaction sources determine how imported costs are classified and processed, ensuring they map correctly to cost categories. Cross-charge methods handle inter-unit billing, not mapping. Burden schedules calculate indirect costs but won't fix categorization. Project calendar adjustments change timelines but not data mapping. Correct configuration at the transaction source level addresses the root cause and consistency across future imports. Question 12. With respect to intercompany project billing, a project accountant notices discrepancies in the borrower and lender accounting entries. Which action is most effective to correct the setup? A. Reassign the project to a different reference data set. B. Review and update cross-charge method settings for both provider and receiver. C. Enable budgetary controls for intercompany projects. D. Reduce the number of BUA levels to simplify billing. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Cross-charge methods drive the generation of borrower and lend entries. The reviewing and correcting these ensures both provider and receiver ledgers align. Changing reference data sets may affect configurations but won't fix the underlying calculation. Budgetary controls manage spending, not intercompany accounting. RBA level changes affect work structure but not accounting logic. Accurate cross-charge configuration is essential for proper intercompany settlement. Question 13. Taking into account a research project's need for precise labor cost tracking, the PMO requires all time entries to include custom field for funding source. Which setup ensures this requirement is enforced at data entry? A. Configure cost collection flex field as mandatory for time entry transactions. B. Add custom burden schedule for labor costs. C. Restrict project roles to only those with funding source access. D. Assign separate project calendars per funding source. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. A mandatory cost collection flex field ensures funding source data is captured during time entry. Burden schedules add indirect costs but don't enforce extra data. Restricting project roles controls access, not data entry rules. Multiple calendars fragment scheduling but don't ensure cost tracking accuracy. Configuring mandatory flex field enforces compliance and supports reporting and auditing for funding accountability. Question 14. Contrary to popular belief, inconsistent revenue recognition often stems not from billing errors but from method mismatches. In Oracle Project Management Cloud, what is the most reliable way to ensure revenue aligns with project progress? A. Use a cost-to-cost revenue method and assign it at the contract line level. B. Apply budgetary controls to monitor revenue against forecast. C. Set up invoice formats to match progress billing cycles. D. Enable burdening rules for revenue-related transactions. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. A cost-to-cost revenue method aligns recognition with actual cost progress, producing a more accurate revenue pattern. Budgetary controls oversee spending, not revenue recognition. Invoice formats affect output presentation but not timing of revenue recognition. Burdening rules apply indirect costs and are unrelated to revenue calculations. Assigning the correct revenue method at the contract line ensures financial reporting matches project execution. Question 15. Under the assumption that a multinational project unit needs to share a standard set of project role definitions across all business units, what configuration is required? A. Use a global reference data set for project roles. B. Create duplicate roles in each business unit for flexibility. C. Configure separate security policies per business unit. D. Limit cross-projects to shared resource pools only. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. A global reference data set ensures all BUS share consistent project role definitions supporting centralized governance. Duplicating roles increases maintenance complexity. Separate security policies manage access but not definition sharing. Restricting cross-projects limits collaboration but doesn't standardize role definitions. Reference data set sharing promotes efficiency and ensures consistent role-based workflows. Question 16. Historically speaking, project scope changes have caused repeated budget revisions in a defense program. Which proactive control can minimize these disruptions? A. Implement change orders with approval workflows tied to budgetary controls. B. Increase contingency allocations in the project baseline. C. Use transaction sources to pre-classify change-related costs. D. Apply capitalized interest calculations to scope changes. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Change orders linked to approval workflows and budgetary controls ensure scope modifications are formally evaluated, budget impacts assessed, and spending limits enforced before execution. Simply increasing contingency funds addresses symptoms, not control. Transaction sources categorize data, but don't govern change approvals. Capitalized interest applies to capital projects, not general scope management. Proper change control is best practice in governance. Question 17. Throughout the course of a multi-phase construction project, reporting delays arise because task completion percentages are not updating in real time. Which configuration best addresses this? A. Enable progress management and link tasks to deliverables for auto-update. B. Reduce complexity to speed up updates. C. Assign budgetary controls at the task level. D. Modify invoice formats to include completion data. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Linking deliverables to tasks within progress management enables automatic updates when deliverables are marked complete. Reduced complexity may improve navigation but not automate progress updates. Budgetary controls regulate spending, not reporting timeliness. Invoice formats affect billing presentation, not progress tracking. Automated deliverable task linkage ensures accuracy and timeliness in reporting. Question 18. From multiple perspectives, an organization wants to speed up initial configuration of multiple project units. What is the primary advantage of using the Rapid Implementation Workbook in this scenario? A. It reduces the need for reference data sharing across units. B. It allows simultaneous configuration of multiple setup components. C. It bypasses the need for testing in lower environments. D. It automatically validates configurations against industry benchmarks. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. The workbook enables batch configuration of multiple components, e.g. project units, calendars, roles in one process, streamlining setup. It does not eliminate the need for reference data sharing if cross-unit standards are required. Skipping testing is risky and not recommended. Validation against industry benchmarks is not a built-in feature. This approach accelerates deployment without configuration integrity. Question 19. In response to recurring disputes over interdepartmental cost sharing, the CIO asks for a method that not only allocates costs but also produces accounting entries for both sides. What feature should be implemented? A. Burdening with dual allocation schedules. B. Cross-charge methods with transfer pricing setup. C. Budgetary controls with allocation triggers. D. Separate transaction sources for each department. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Cross-charge methods with transfer pricing create balanced accounting for both provider and receiver, supporting transparency in cost-sharing arrangements. Burdening applies indirect costs, not interdepartmental settlements. Budgetary controls limit spending but don't generate accounting entries. Separate transaction sources classify costs but don't handle mutual accounting. Transfer pricing ensures compliance and interdepartmental cost allocation. Question 20. The most significant aspect of effective project billing is ensuring that the invoice reflects both contractual terms and accurate cost data. Which configuration best achieves this alignment? A. Define invoice formats aligned with contract line structures. B. Apply burdening schedules to adjust billed amounts. C. Use reference data sharing for invoice templates. D. Configure capitalized interest for billing calculations. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Aligning invoice formats with contract line structures ensures that billing accurately reflects contractual obligations and related cost data. Burdening schedules calculate indirect costs but don't govern invoice structure. Reference data sharing can distribute templates but doesn't define their alignment to contracts. Capitalized interest is unrelated to billing accuracy. Proper format alignment ensures transparency, compliance in client invoicing. Question 21. Through careful analysis of a project's delayed invoicing cycle, Sarah, billing manager, suspects that incorrect invoice format assignments are causing errors. What should she do to ensure invoice accuracy and compliance? A. Review and assign invoice formats based on contract line and customer requirements. B. Adjust budgetary controls to prevent incorrect invoices from posting. C. Modify transaction sources to capture invoice data. D. Enable burdening for invoice transactions to reflect true costs. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Invoice formats must be aligned with contract lines and customer needs to ensure that invoices accurately reflect agreed billing terms and comply with financial policies. Budgetary controls regulate spending, not invoice format. Transaction sources deal with cost data import unrelated to invoice formatting. Burdening adjusts costs but does not control invoice presentation. Proper format assignment directly imp billing accuracy and client satisfaction. Question 22. Given the circumstances, Ming-El is configuring labor scheduling for a complex construction project requiring integration with Oracle Time and Labor. What must Ming-El ensure for accurate labor cost capture? A. Labor schedules align with project calendars and link to project tasks. B. Budgetary controls are disabled for labor costs. C. Transaction sources exclude labor time entries. D. Burden schedules are applied only after labor costs are posted. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Burden schedules must be configured to apply after labor costs are posted, ensuring indirect costs like benefits and overhead are accurately calculated. Labor schedules should align with calendars, but linkage to tasks is primary for costing. Budgetary controls typically manage labor spending, not disabled. Transaction sources should include labor entries to capture costs. Proper burden application, comprehensive labor cost management. Question 23. As demonstrated by recent implementation audits, inconsistent security role assignments caused unauthorized access to project financial data. What is the best practice to prevent this? A. Regularly review and update security policies aligned with user roles and responsibilities. B. Use transaction sources to restrict financial data imports. C. Assign burden schedules based on security levels. D. Disable reference data sharing for sensitive project data. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. While regularly reviewing security policies is crucial, transaction sources specifically control how data is imported and by whom, providing an extra layer of data security. Burden schedules govern cost calculations and are related to access control. Disabling reference data sharing limits collaboration but isn't targeted security practice. Controlling transaction source access prevents unauthorized financial data manipulation effectively. Question 24. In the absence of detailed project gates, Thomas finds recurring quality issues in deliverables. How should he improve the project's execution process to mitigate this risk? A. Define clear project gates with measurable acceptance criteria and enforce mandatory approvals. B. Assign additional resources to quality assurance tasks. C. Shorten project periods to increase review frequency. D. Apply capitalized interest to motivate timely deliverables. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Clear project gates with measurable criteria and approvals provide structured quality checkpoints ensuring deliverables meet standards before progressing. Increasing resources may help but doesn't replace process controls. Shortening periods can increase workload without improving quality. Capitalized interest relates to finance, not quality. Structured gating enforces accountability and maintains project step effectively. Question 25. Considering the evidence, a global organization wants to ensure that project financial data shared across multiple business units remains consistent and up to date. What mechanism best supports this objective? A. Implement reference data sharing for project configurations and calendars. B. Use separate transaction sources for each business unit. C. Limit project roles to unit-specific definitions. D. Apply burden schedules independently per business unit. Answer. Correct answer. C's explanation. Limiting project roles to unit-specific definitions restricts access and reduces inconsistency risks in sensitive data, but doesn't ensure data consistency itself. Reference data sharing is the correct mechanism to share standardized configurations and calendars across units. Separate transaction sources create silos and inconsistencies. Independent burden schedules may cause divergent costing. Consistency is best achieved by sharing core reference data centrally. Question 26. To what degree does the choice of cost collection flex fields impact project financial reporting accuracy in Oracle Project Management Cloud? A. It is critical because flex fields categorize and segment cost data, enabling detailed analysis. B. It has minimal impact as burden schedules primarily drive financial reporting. C. It only affects budgeting, not actual cost reporting. D. It is irrelevant if cross-charge methods are configured. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Cost collection flex fields primarily affect data capture and categorization for budgeting and analysis. Burden schedules and cross-charge methods impact actual cost calculations and accounting entries. While important, flex fields don't directly alter actual cost postings if misconfigured. Understanding the role of each element ensures financial reports reflect both categorization and accurate cost accumulation. Question 27. In light of recent developments, a company aims to automate progress billing aligned with project milestones. Which configuration best facilitates this? A. Link invoice and revenue method between milestone and project gates. B. Use budgetary controls to approve billing amounts. C. Set up transaction sources to import progress data. D. Enable capitalized interest on billed amounts. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Linking invoice and revenue method of milestones and gates ensures billing aligns with actual progress and contractual requirements. Budgetary controls oversee spending, not billing approval. Transaction sources import data but don't automate billing. Capitalized interest is financial accounting concept unrelated to progress billing. Correct linkage guarantees billing reflects verified projected value, improving cash flow and client trust. Question 20. Among the various challenges in multi-phase projects, coordinating deliverables and tasks is often complex. How can Oracle Project Management Cloud's work breakdown structure best support this? A. By organizing tasks hierarchically aligned with deliverables and dependencies. B. By simplifying project calendars across phases. C. By limiting budgetary controls to the top level only. D. By using burden schedules to manage task assignments. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. A hierarchical view is lined up with deliverables and dependencies provides clear structure, facilitating coordination and progress tracking, simplifying calendars, helps scheduling but doesn't address task coordination. Budgetary controls manage cost limits, not task organization. Burden schedules affect costing but don't manage task dependencies. An effective BF framework is fundamental for complex execution management. Question 29. Focusing specifically on the functional setup manager, which practice ensures a smooth rollout of configuration tasks across multiple project implementations. A. Assign implementation consultants roles with least privilege, incrementally granting access. B. Disable reference data sharing to isolate configurations per implementation. C. Skip validation steps in the rapid implementation workbook to save time. D. Customize invoice formats after full production deployment. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Disabling reference data sharing isolates configurations for each implementation, reducing cross-implementation conflicts. Least privilege roles help security but must be balanced for task completion. Skipping validation risks misconfigurations. Invoice format customization post-production risks billing errors. Controlled isolation during rollout prevents unintended configuration overlaps and simplifies troubleshooting. Question 30. What factors contribute to successful integration between Oracle Project Financial Management Cloud and Revenue Management Cloud for revenue recognition? A. Accurate project contract billing and consistent invoice and revenue method alignment. B. Enabling burden schedules in both systems. C. Using separate transaction sources for revenue and cost data. D. Limiting reference data sharing between the two systems. Answer. Correct answer, C. Explanation. Accurate contract billing and aligned invoice or revenue methods ensure consistent revenue recognition across integrated systems. Burden schedules focus on cost side, not revenue. Separate transaction sources maintain data integrity but require careful synchronization. Limiting data sharing can hinder integration. Successful integration depends on aligning billing and revenue recognition processes supported by well-configured data flows.